God, Mum, you're not on Tinder.
Most people call it plenty of fuck.
We're going to make you a profile.
The Playing with Matches podcast, where women talk about their experiences dating online. Hello, and welcome to Playing with Matches. I'm Mark, a filmmaker from the UK, and this podcast has been in the works since lockdown. Remember that crazy time when the world was turned on its head and people either grabbed it by the horns or didn't? It was obviously a tragic time in many ways, and certainly an uncertain one. But it was also a time for trying something new, playing the oboe, baking a souffle, and other euphemisms. There was also a spike in dating app activity at that time. And during the second lockdown, I, along with half the rest of the world, signed up. I wasn't expecting much, but what I saw surprised me. Lots of humour, many sincere people looking for love, and plenty of bios telling me exactly who I needed to be to get an audition. The whole thing was a bit overwhelming, to be honest. But I couldn't ignore the fact that so many women seemed bitter about previous experiences on these apps. So I asked a few of them about it. I went from looking for fun to looking for stories. And the stories came. The bad, the good, the really bad, the funny, abusive messages, ghosting, and lots of dick pics. Not asked for, just slapped in their face. So the filmmaker in me thought there are stories here that need to be told, and really need to be listened to. I found myself a female producer to make sure I was doing my due diligence, and I asked my mum, Denise,
hello,
as the most empathetic and empowering lady I know, if she'd conduct some interviews via Zoom, and she said,
yes, I'll do that.
So we began. And then there's Jen.
Hello.
My own Tinder success story, who I miraculously found thanks to this process, after she told me she had her own story to tell. Jen was never interviewed for this podcast in the end. We were too busy falling in love. But she's agreed to share her own story of dating online in a later episode, which is both terrific and potentially terrifying for me as a podcaster and her boyfriend. So I think that about brings us up to speed. I want to thank all the women who took part for their bravery and honesty and humour. I think there's a lot for people to relate to. And for some people, let's be honest, us men, there's some lessons to learn too. Anyway, I hope you enjoy Playing with Matches. Every episode is dedicated to a separate interview, so each woman has centre stage. And if you fancy watching a trailer with some imagery, there's one on my YouTube channel. The link's in the show notes. In episode 1, we hear from the wonderfully funny Maggie. So I'll see you there. Bye-bye.